Velveteen Rabbit. His color of enlightenment. How I breathe his wish and how I agree with his sentiment. It provoked in me questions about human existence, the enigmatic journey of life, and the grim finalities of death, only heightened by his soulless recovery. Perils of religion, greed, selfishness, acceptance. All things that humans learn closer to their deathbed than to their bed of rebirth. Throughout this journey, there was a type of wisdom, a sort of essence that was more touch and go than fail and stay. That wisdom found was incommunicable. An interesting notion, considering the spoke about journey is now solely made up of words in a book. Sometimes tossed down a chute, milled about hundreds of forgotten tales, and sometimes treasured so deeply by someone that made an impact on how they lived their life. Soiled, yet not forgotten, it is their Velveteen Rabbit. The enlightened one sighs inwardly, collectively conceding his desires. Emptied of his suffering, he holds on to his ideas, placed higher on a pedestal than that of his peers, hovering silently, above all regard for sanity. The rested soul sought liberation, sought soulless sensation, sought endless flirtation with his own vibration. Inside his heart he yearned, although not but for the mundane mind migrated towards, but rather a higher sense of senselessness. His soul was above humanity, was in its own circle of gravity, grasping for a chance at that transcendent state, that soulless state, that aura of release. We are told that if our forefathers failed in their scrawny expeditions, we will too, for trying would be laughed at. So the human race turns to put their minds and emotions in a jar of formaldehyde for later examination, then do it anyway. Defy the beliefs of their rolling over forefathers who were too stuffed with grief and maggots to protest. But this idea of trial and error is only as real as you make it out to be. Isn't that what religion does? It makes way for a passage of hope. Hope that you'll be safe forever. Hope that your struggles are simply lessons. Hope that all will set right in the end, no matter the circumstance. But more so than hope, he chose to believe that suffering is only caused by a fleeting desire, by your mental attire and attraction to wealth's fire. And to be cured, to abandon suffering, to live an enigmatic life, is to abandon all impulse and hunger, to leave self-absorption. We are so consumed in ourselves that it takes a scientist to believe again. There is the irony. So we'll listen to a man with a PhD, but not a man with a DHP, a dedication to helping people. That should mean more to me than any degree of insanity that could be paid for, just to have someone scream back everything that is wrong with my choices. That scientist will preach facts into the morning mass of data, but he will never know how it feels to have an unconditional, unexplained essence growing inside of him. Whether that is love, whether that is source, and whether or not it can be tamed, it should not close a cap on your potential of believing. We get so consumed in facts and daily life that is what the enlightened one hoped to overcome. Trying to prove that in no universe does Einstein's equation produce enough energy to create a family. One word was his escape. He began to fold into himself like a potter with experienced hands. He began to cease searching and start being. Piece by piece, his soul was carried closer and closer to his endlessly searched for paradise. His soul was truly on a quest, searching for the ultimate answer of enigma and man's role on this earth. He ages. He goes through life soon, realizing he cannot find what he is looking for by following the already created and cremated paths of others. He is soon an old man, ripe to reflect and relinquish his choices, and having faced and succumbed to temptations of wealth, domination, and power. But he selectively sees that the only way to enlightenment is through one's own chiseled, certifiably shaped-out path solitarily created for success. He thinks of verses. Among the absolution and attractions of life's questions and accreditation, there is no suffering for the one who has completed the journey, who is freed from sorrow, who has freed oneself on all sides, who has thrown off all chains. Those whose passions are stilled, who are indifferent to pleasure, who have perceived release and unconditional freedom, their path is difficult to understand, like that of birds in the sky. He accepted it. He accepted that we are prevented from grasping the true order of things by the limits of everyday experience. That is why, from that revolutionary day forward, he vowed to always see the never-ending stream of faces he could help and to stride towards knowing that the most he could ever do for himself was try. Exalted was he, once a boy, now an entity, filled with experience and expertise. His senses were as royal as they could be, his nose smelling the peppermint wind easily as it trespassed through his mind, carried by the rivers. He noticed now. He noticed the small, iridescent movement of things around him. Everything had color and purpose. Everything was worth a path to enlightenment, alike to him when he was first deemed worthless. He succeeded in his scrawny expedition. His soulless recovery was deemed valuable, was proved to be a soluble state that could morph its own beliefs about how one succeeds paradise. He wore out his beloved tale. He loved and sallied his story, ripped apart and sewed back together carefully, like a young boy's curiosity of adventure. No matter if it is a shoot with dozens of other tales, or set up on its rightful pedestal, his color of enlightenment will always be bathed in warm chocolate brown, a well-loved color of his Velveteen Rabbit.